the 3 reasons you're not getting referrals, Frank, and how to fix it.
Yeah.
What a great session we talked about. Carl came on and man, we were just talking about it. What a great, because it's like, dude, where are the referrals?
I know. I know. And it really is three very, very simple things. If
Yeah,
you think about it,
yeah,
it's very, very simple things. And if we focus on these three things and make sure we're doing these three things every single day in our
yeah.
process, with these three things are kind of in the midst of the process of the daily success plan and
Right.
that type of thing. But really, they're very key elements,
Mm-hmm.
in this process, and they're not really all that difficult, Steve. I mean, the first one is that we literally have to ask for the business. It really does. Um,
Hey, it's the
Personally,
pain in,
I'm not. I was just say personally, me, I don't really have a problem asking for the business, right?
yeah, yeah.
But I know that a lot of people really struggle with that. They feel weird about
Hey,
it.
I would ask why. Hey, you and
Yeah.
me both. Like, it's so funny because we're talking more about the journey, and I'm originating again, which has
Hmm.
been so much fun. And Frank, listen to this. Like last week, I was on the phone with this client. He's so his name, great guy, Jose. And I, guess what I do? Exactly what we teach everybody to do. And I said, "Hey, Jose, before we get off the phone, can I ask you a quick favor?" And he said, "Well, of course, Steve. You've done such a great job for me." That's literally what he said.
Mm,
And listen, this guy's high up in an oil and gas company here in Houston.
mm,
And I said, "Hey, could I count on you that when you have a friend, family, coworker looking to buy, sell, or refinance, could I count on you to give me their information? I'd love to help another great family just like you." And you know
mm,
what he did? He
mm.
chuckled. He goes, "Dude," he said, "that's great." And I said, "Of course it is." I said, "Am I taking great care of you?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I've got to ask for the business." And he
Mm.
said, "Man, that is so cool to hear." Like literally, this is what he's saying. He chuckled. And you know why, Frank? Because pros ask for the business.
Mhm.
And I think I don't know why, like you know what I think it is? We've watched too many movies of these sleazy car salesmen, or maybe we had a bad experience. But I would challenge everybody, you got to go deep and understand, like, why do I have a hard time asking for the business? Because listen, when I'm talking to my agents and I say, "Hey, Frank," I did this with Marie Lundy. I've got another agent that I'm working with who referred me another client. And you know what was funny? I said, "Hey, Marie, before we get off the phone, let me ask you this. Who do you have today that I could help you get pre approved?"
Right.
And
Yeah.
she's like, "Hey, I don't, but man, that's a great question to be asking." And you know what I told her? I said, "Marie, I'm asking it to everybody."
Mm,
And the reason why, and look, this is what's so cool when you ask for the business, especially with your partners, Frank. I
mm.
told her, I said, "I'm asking you for the business, but you can count on me to ask our clients the same way for the business because when we get the
Yeah.
referrals, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring it right back to you."
Right.
And it's like, for some reason, there's this like frozen point of, oh, it's weird. It sounds weird. But when you gamify it and you realize, dude, pros ask for the business,
Mm.
and then you're teaching your partners what you're doing, what happens is they're like, wow, if he's asking me for the business every time, he's doing that with our clients, I'm going to get more business. What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
but it's brilliant, it's simple, and it's just what we need to be doing as salespeople. We need to be
Yeah.
asking them if they know
Yeah.
somebody we can get pre-approved on the real estate side. The other thing too and I've taught this for years and practiced it for years, and I
Yeah.
know this works wonderfully. Is we need to start asking for the business like immediately. Like we
Yeah.
don't like,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to a client. Like a purchase transaction is the perfect example, right? Purchase transaction. We get referred a client, from a real estate agent. We have that
Right.
very first phone call. Oftentimes, Steve, depending on where you're at in your career or whatever, oftentimes that very first phone call is going to be sort of a let me feel this out. The loan officer is saying, okay, do you got a job? How's your
Right.
credit? What's in
Right.
the
Right.
bank? We do
Yeah.
that. And when you get a little seasoned in the business with these few questions, you can already figure out in your head in about 11 seconds, this is an FHA deal. My challenge is going to be the credit. You already know where you're going with all this, right?
Check, check,
But
check,
but
check.
usually there's that initial conversation, and then we're usually handing it off, right? We're going to
Right.
hand it off to
Right.
somebody or the next call. The next call, we're going to go through the application with you. I'm going to send you the application link. Someone's going to reach out to you, and we're going to gather some documentation. So there's that handoff of sorts, and then for a lot of people, they won't ask for the business at that particular moment when they're
Mm,
saying goodbye on that very first phone call. They won't do it because they have this sense that they have to prove some sort of worth to them
mm,
first
mm.
before they ask for the referral. And what you got to understand is the people on the other line, the people listening to this whole thing, most of them, not all, yeah, but most of them are already feeling like this is great. This guy's got it
Yeah.
going on. And
Yeah.
so when you ask right away, hey, before I let you go, we're going to follow up that phone call. We're going to get that link out. Before I let you go, hey, can I ask you a favor? Sure. Hey, man, if you happen to come as you're going through this process, you're going to be talking to a lot of people about what you're doing. You may come across some friends, family, or coworkers that suddenly you'll find are interested in doing this too. You know,
Mm.
if you come across any friends, family, or coworkers as you're going through this process that are thinking about buying, selling, or refinancing, man, can I count on you to get me their information so I can reach out to them and help them out too? You will find on that very first phone call,
Yeah. Yeah.
bro, I'm telling you, a high percentage of the time
Yeah.
on that very first phone call asking for the business, you're going to get a referral.
That's
You're going
it.
to go, as a matter of fact, my cousin was thinking the same thing. I
That's
would love
right.
to
That's
chat with
right.
your cousin.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, and then to have the systematic way of staying in touch and asking for the business in a cool way, right? It can transform your business. I remember you saying some stats long ago, and when you're at the other mortgage company. Now you're starting again, but where like once you guys turned on the ask for the business switch, like the
Oh, yeah.
conversions just went through the
Yeah.
flipping roof
Yeah. Yeah.
because you were simply asking for the business. And lastly, and you can dive in after this, but I would say, asking for the business doesn't have to be a robotic, annoying thing. It can be a very cool, casual thing. And I even tell people too, hey, just so you know, like as we go forward, at the end of our calls, me or my process or whatever, we're just going to remind you that, if you come across anybody, so we'll ask for the
Yeah.
business. I don't feel weird or, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable about it. It's just what we do. It's just how
Yeah.
we work. Cause that's how we get our businesses by
Yeah.
referral. They don't just, business doesn't come through the door. So is it okay if, from time to time, as you're talking to us, we go through the process, we ask you at the end of the call, just as a reminder, and they'll always say absolutely yes. And so now they're even teed up,
Oh,
to
for sure.
understand, oh, the processor just asked me for the business. This is cool. Frank told me about this.
Yeah.
But now it's even more top of mind for them, and they're thinking about it. It's such a powerful thing.
We just
Just
have to do
asking
it.
for the business.
It,
You have to do
it,
it. Yeah.
it just goes back to process. I think we know it's the right thing to do, but it's learning how to implement a very simple process into what you're doing every day. And that's how you see the results. So,
Hmm.
okay,
Yeah.
three things we said. So we
Yeah.
teased them with three. Number one, you're simply not asking for the business.
Right.
Hey, and I'm reminded of Jared. I got a great guy went through the boot camp, love him to death, Jared Manley. And I'll never forget, Frank, his number one thing, because at the first week of the boot camp, I ask everybody, what's the one thing you want to accomplish by the end of the 8 weeks?
Mm.
And Frank, you know what his was? I want to ask for the business on every phone call. I want to,
Hmm.
and so we started tracking it, and I think he started like in the 20 or 30%. Like if he had 20 outbound calls and conversations, he maybe asked for the business 4 or 5 times. By the end of the 8 weeks, he was over 90% asked for the business. And I'll never forget that next week, I just called to check in with him. Bro, he had 7 loans in his pipeline
Yeah.
that had come directly from asking for
Just
the
asking,
business.
man.
Yeah. And a conversation without an ask is a wasted opportunity.
Hmm.
So, and not in a bad way. You didn't know it. Now you know it. Ask for the business. Number
Hmm.
two, you're
Mm.
invisible. Talk
Right.
about this one, man. This is pretty interesting because not only number one, it's we got to ask for the business. Number two, we're invisible.
Hmm.
And this I think is probably the toughest one. If somebody hadn't been making their outbound calls to their past client database, like doing our whole process, it's funny. You'll talk to a past client. Has anybody ever done this? Frank, how you doing? Steve Kyle's just want to call and check in with you. Oh my gosh, Steve, we just bought a house
Right.
and they didn't use you. And it's like,
Right.
oh my gosh. It's not because they didn't like us, it's because we were invisible.
We're
They
invisible.
haven't heard from us.
Hmm.
They've likely forgotten. We don't have a monthly mailer going out. We're not sending out our weekly email. We're not doing our custom audience targeted Facebook ads. We're not doing our quote unquote random texts. We're not doing our quarterly calls. And listen, that may sound like a lot, but do you know that you can actively wake up your database? And our math shows that 1 to 2 closings a month for every 100 people you have in your database,
Right.
and you can do it in less than 2 hours a week. And
Yeah.
so, man, I think that's a big one. Why are you not Why are you not getting referrals? Number one, you're not asking. Number two, you're just invisible. What do we do about that, Frank?
Well, we start getting visible, Steve, and we got
Yeah, starting today.
yeah, yeah, and we can do that in ways that don't interfere with our
Yeah,
outbound calls.
yeah.
Of course, the outbound calls and asking for the business are top priority for us, as salespeople and as originators, of course. But there are a lot of very simple ways that we can get visible. Number one is just the email, the weekly email to the past client database. It's
So easy.
it's
Yeah,
so easy, and I don't want people to think that it's the email that generates the lead, although it can happen, certainly can. But
sure.
it's kind of the combination of, oh, Frank's around again, oh, there's Frank again, and then when the call comes in, it's like,
That's
okay,
it.
we've got the familiarity again, just like you said. I mean, I think all of us experience that as loan originators. We finally get the gumption to call the database, and we make the
Yeah.
calls, and we discover we had issues. I remember the first time I did it many years ago, and I was calling 25 people a week. I was encouraged by a Brian Buffini coach to do that. I got through it all in a month. I picked up like 5 transactions, but was just devastated to learn that I had lost like 12 because there were
Mm,
people just like, oh
yeah,
man, And here's a funny thing too, Steve. I'll
yeah.
tell you this: I was staying visible. I did send them mailers every single month. They were getting mailers from me, but it wasn't enough. It
It
was
wasn't
great.
enough.
It
That's it.
wasn't
That's
enough
it.
because they wound up talking to somebody else, and that's
Yeah.
that's where it went. But to get visible, Steve,
It's very
emails.
simple.
It's
2 hours
very
or less a
simple.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even just the whole social media thing. Obviously, the most effective way we could be visible on social, especially Facebook, is by uploading a custom audience and doing very inexpensive Facebook ads to
Yeah.
stay in front
Yeah.
of them once a week. That is
Dude, you
so
could spend less
brainlessly
than five
easy and
dollars a
cheap.
day.
Yeah,
Less than $5
so
a day.
cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
Hey,
could upload your realtors, your past
oh yeah.
clients, and yeah. So yeah,
Hey, and let me do this too. If you're listening today and you want help with it, because we're talking about these things to stay visible. So, hey, but let me say this. I do agree with you. It is not enough to send a mailer. It's the mailer with the weekly email, with the phone call, with the
yes,
custom audience. Because what'll happen is it's the combination of all those touch points where you just stay top of mind. Hey, and the
right,
third thing is this, and I think it's great, and we'll get out of here. We'll knock this out. But number
yeah,
one, you're not asking. We're going to change that today. Number two, you're invisible, not your fault, but we're going to help you with a process. Go to freedomplanningcall.com. And number three, you're not making their life easier. I
right.
think about this, Frank. How many times has your phone rang and it went to voicemail?
Oh yeah.
Oh, hey, I was talking to somebody the other day, and it was literally they sent that dreaded text. I'm on a call and I'll call you back.
Mm-hmm.
They called the client back, and you know what the client said?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Frank, I'm good. I've already talked to another lender.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
what
that's
does it take to answer that phone call? Because you
yeah,
just lost a deal. And
yeah.
you know what happens
It's
is
a
not
tough
only
one.
did you lost a deal, if you get a shot, you're the one that's behind now because now you're competing with the person they actually talked to first.
Mm,
So it's like, oh, make their life easy. Never let your phone go to
mm,
voicemail.
yeah. Carl
You can
brought up
do
a
it.
couple of good points on that too. I think the simplest way to get started
Yeah.
is okay. There's the additional phone line, right? So most people are going to say, well, this is my number. Everybody has it. All my family, all my
Yeah.
clients, all my
Yeah.
realtors, and everybody has it. And then you can
Yeah.
make the decision to say, okay, for those on YouTube, then this phone has now become the business phone. Okay. Now this is because this is the one that's got everybody calling, right? And so this phone, when I'm going to do my prospecting time, if I'm calling through my computer
Yeah.
on a speed dialer, I don't need a second phone to do those calls, right? So I'm on a power
Right.
dialer.
Right.
I'm on my computer. I'm making my outbound calls, but I can hand this phone now to someone else, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
this phone can get handed to my assistant, my processor, whoever. Try and find
Yeah.
that person, right? Now, if you don't have that person, well, then you're going to have to invest in some sort of a call answering service. These are
Posh.
inexpensive as well.
Yeah.
Posh is good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them,
Yeah.
where you can forward your number to the answering service. And the truth is, just like we're saying, Steve, the truth is, as long as they talk to someone,
That's it. That's
then they
it.
know, okay,
They're
I've
good.
made the connection.
Yeah.
Even if
They're
that
good.
person says, great, he's tied up for another 45 minutes helping another customer. As soon as he's off, he will call you back.
That's
Right.
right.
And that's enough for a lot of people.
That's
I, I,
right.
I saw a guy, a sales coach, Steve, and he likened this to, how sometimes, let's say you're in line at a fast food register,
Right.
right? And it's busy and there's a lot of people and they're, and you're waiting in line. And it's not moving that fast, right? And you're starting to get a little antsy. You're starting to get a little antsy. But when the person behind the register just looks at you and goes, we're getting to you. All of a sudden, all that goes, we go, okay, all right. Somebody acknowledged me. You know what I mean? And it's
Hey,
okay. And I'm
there's
still
a lot of
standing
truth
in
to that.
line. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
still standing in line. But somebody acknowledged me and said, we
Mm.
understand you're still there. We're thinking about you. We're getting through this as quick as we can. Be right with you. Then I feel like I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's the,
Yeah.
it's the same sort of
Yeah.
principle. They get the answering service.
Hmm.
They can't connect you right now, but we got you. We're going to move you to the front of the line. As soon as he's off this call, he'll give you a call. And I'm like, okay. I'm going to feel
Oh,
like I don't need to make a second call, right?
right.
I
Right.
got through. Somebody's going to get to me. I'm cool with it. So that alone is a big deal.
It's a
You
big
know?
deal. We got to make their lives easier. So, I think about return phone calls. I think about calling on time.
Mm,
If you got a scheduled timeline at 2 o'clock, don't call it 2:05, call it 2 o'clock.
mm,
We just have to make their life easier.
mm,
And, if it's complicated, and I love it, even in our scripting, Frank, this is why I always say, all right, we're going to help you build a clear mortgage plan, something very simple. Make it easy for them to work with you. And so answer the phone, make sure that you're returning the phone calls, respond proactively and fast. I'll tell you this, in today's environment, people don't have patience. They don't have patience for,
no.
3 and 4 hours. And
Mm,
listen, if you can't do it, that's okay. Hire somebody who can. And then I hear
mm,
Frank, somebody say, well, it's too expensive. No, losing a $5,000 commission is too expensive.
mm,
Hiring somebody for $100 a week to answer your phone every time it rings, or to have speed to the lead, brother,
mm,
that's the win. So, hey, we got to get out of here. Let me okay. So the reason you're not getting referrals, you're not asking, you're invisible, or you're not making their life easier. And our encouragement to you today is to change those, man. Ask for
mm.
the business. Start making sure you're visible and make it easy for people to give you money. Any
There you
closing
go.
thoughts, Frank?
No, I would say that's it. These are easy things to actually work on.
Yeah.
If you think about it, these are simple
Yeah.
items. Make sure you focus on these three things. It'll change
100%.
a lot.
Remember this, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.
Adios.